Gozia said, "Hello Swaruu, hello Aneka. What a pleasure to be talking to you, both today." Swaruu said, "Hello Gozia. Nice to be here with you again." Aneka said, "How are you doing Gozia? Thank you for inviting me." Gozia said, "Of course. I have heard you were an expert of the 3D matrix programming. We would like to learn more about it. Please, in your words, how does it work exactly? You can be as specific as you want." Aneka said, "Okay. From here we see a map of frequencies. Those the computer will translate into visible objects like a landscape, a tree, a building. Those frequencies are also events, not only hard objects. The computer will place it in front of you, in front of me in this case, as a hologram that is interactive. I can move objects around with my hands, or I can also use thought. I imagine a building and the computer will make it come up in the hologram, later manipulate. This is the physical part. The next step is to see the events as frequencies as well. This is where it becomes invasive in the opinion of many." Gozia said, "You said, from here we see a map of frequencies. I didn't understand that, I am sorry. Where is that map of frequencies? On your computer?" Aneka said, "It's in my computer. It will be on a screen or it will be projected onto me, in front of me as an interactive hologram, here on this ship." Gozia said, "Okay, let's pause for a second. I have some doubts please. Are you trying to say that there are no objects on Earth? No trees, no mountains, nothing? Because from what I understood the Earth is already here, in its 5D state, it's just our perception of it that is locked in into 3D. So, we see those trees and mountains in a more limited way, no?" Aneka said, "Yes, but there are what you would call real objects in 5D, and superimposed unreal objects in 3D. Those are the ones we can alter. We can alter the 5D ones as well, but not with this technology that for our standards is quite outdated and old." Gozia said, "Okay great. Relief. Can you specify which objects are real objects, in 5D too, and which ones are superimposed? I mean, is nature real? Mountains, rivers etc. Because I feel it is." Aneka said, "Yes, nature is mostly real. The artificial cities are not, or mostly not. But it's different for each area." Gozia said, "Artificial cities? Do you mean that some cities are all superimposed?" Aneka said, "All of them are artificial 3D, but some have older elements. Those places are more 4D. I refer to places like castles and old houses, places with ghosts and anomalous things. It depends on each city, some more than others, but all of them I would say are in the excess of 50% matrix 3D." Gozia said, "And if we go to 5D, they will disappear?" Aneka said, "Mostly yes." Gozia said, "So if they do, what will there be left on Earth? No buildings. Cities. Just nature suddenly?" Swaruu said, "In some cases yes, just nature, in others a partial city, only some elements will remain. This is also seen as living in another parallel reality or timeline." Gozia said, "So all of us waking up in 5D, where will we live? All of our homes will disappear. We will just wake up one day in a forest. And then what?" Swaruu said, "Your homes, as well as whatever other places you need, will remain by the simple fact that it's the people themselves that are manifesting them. So, their houses won't go away. Only those horrible government buildings and banks, for example, those things no one wants, and there is a matrix imposition outside the real needs and wants of the population of real people." Gozia said, "Oh yes. There will be empty places there. In the middle of the city. Will that happen gradually or suddenly? The shift for 5D. I mean, we will just wake up one day and all government buildings will be gone. Will it not be too strange?" Swaruu said, "In some cases yes, will bluntly disappear, remaining as a Mandela effect, to remember there was something there. In other cases more like the buildings will be given another purpose or demolished for the space to be used for something else." Gozia said, "And pyramids are 3D too?" "No, I don't think so right. This was earlier." Aneka said, "Everything has something of 3D, but let's say that as you will imagine, they are of the structures with less 3D that there are." Swaruu said, "What is real? It's all in your mind anyway. All this technology does is promote you to see something with your limited 5 senses there. Your experience is real, nothing else is. Even the 5D objects are not real. They are also matrix, a higher matrix, but matrix it is." Gozia said, "But 3D inserted objects are less real than 5D objects, no?" Swaruu said, "For your experience they are not less real. Only from our point of view here from 5D." Gozia said, "Okay. So what other objects do you insert normally? And also, do you insert events? Cause this ties with what I was reading about so-called holographic inserts done by zeta reticuli. And so-called perceptual interferences. It is very similar to this, I think. Aneka said, that's right, we insert object and events. You, from there, as Swaruu said, experience them all as reality. We, from here, as we are in another density, we can see, and distinguish 3D objects from 5D objects, and even manipulate the 3D objects. Gozia said, okay, can you be more specific Aneka please? What objects and events are inserted? Aneka said, for example, we can see an important person. And by important we don't mean a famous one, or anyone as seen important there. We mean someone that is playing a key role there even if he, or she is a librarian. Imagine that person having a bad day, they go into a negative spiral, that will eventually lead to that person being mugged. And killed. We will insert something simple into the matrix. That person may be going down an elevator on her way out at the end of her day, and only minutes from being mugged killed. So once in the elevator we can cause an electrical problem, where she will be delayed only 1 minute, so she will no longer be a match to being mugged. Gozia said, amazing. And we here think it's some cosmic destiny. Aneka said, but we can insert objects, like a nail in a tire of a car causing it to stop because of a flat. Or even a tree or a building somewhere where it was not. Remember the Mandela effect. It's not timelines the ones that are changing, it's things physical objects that move around causing a change in the people's perception, but they do remember sometimes that things were different. Gozia said, cool. Can you insert a ticket around the world? Just joking? Aneka said, the ticket is not enough. You must also insert the cause and effect of that. The where that ticket came from or else they would not work, as you have no use for a ticket if it's not registered in the airline's database for a seat. Gozia said, okay, that was only a joke. So sometimes you insert the details of events. Like for example a flat tire, or something, so that some event will not happen. We here sometimes have series of events, like that seem coincidental. When do we know if it is an insertion in the 3D matrix, or when it is yourself, the higher self altering the reality, manifesting? Aneka said, the two things Gozia. Or just you. It depends on each particular event. Swaruu said, you are much more powerful than you imagine. It is only the matrix programming that makes you think you are not, or that you are victims. You do not even need lunar machines to alter a site, with your intention is enough, and I mean it very seriously. That idea that you are helpless is what maintains the 3D matrix and reptiles. Gozia said, excellent, I understand. So, to summarize this part, the matrix is perceptual, locking people's awareness of things. And insertions. Aneka said, that's right. Swaruu said, correct. It's all perception. There is nothing there. Only the stimuli of a thing onto your senses. Gozia said, well the nature is here right, as we confirmed above. It exists in 5D. Swaruu said, yes but they are both only perception. One natural the other artificial. Here you can see more colors, you can hear other sounds making music a lot richer. Objects and nature are more vivid and complete. You can feel energy, feel the people around you, feel the trees, the animals. That's also why there is telepathy. In 3D you are limited. It's like having a part of the program, not the full program. Like a test run. But as people see that 3D is all, they know they cannot conceive otherwise. But there is more. And it is physicality as well, but fully loaded, not with limited features so to speak. Gozia said, excellent. I understand then how the implementation of Matrix 3D works with perceptual interferences, and insertions of graphics and events. But now, the limitations such as not remembering who we are, not remembering other lifetimes. This is programmed by 3D Matrix too, or was this part of reptilian manipulation afterwards? Or maybe it's part of the original Matrix. Swaruu said, it's all of the above. And it's not the same for everyone. Most go in with a memory loss, others not so much. This is due mainly to the energy level, or consciousness level of each individual as they go in. The higher and more evolved an individual the more it can override the matrix destructive frequency interference, although it is not always like this. The matrix destructive interference restricts which frequencies can be accessed by a consciousness, and there is also a factor of mind control working to set people in a state that promotes forgetting. Also, the part of not remembering is part of the original matrix from the beginning. The reason you forget is because if you remember it would not be the same. Incarnating there on Earth is like the most advanced level of a video game. Nightmare level as they say. It is assumed that if you forget who you are it will be more dramatic, you will take things much more seriously than if you know that at the end of the day you will simply get out of the cinema because everything was a simulation. Although, as I said, Everything is a simulation, what you experience there is not. So from the point of view of inside 3D, it is reality and experience that matter. From your point of view everything is real. It is very much ingrained in the psyche of humanity, to think that only one thing is true and not several, especially if they are contrary. More than one thing, although contradictory, may be true. So, reality is a simulation and everything is a false hologram, and it is also reality, and must be taken as such because experience is the real thing, and as everything is experience, everything is real for you. It would not be so real if you remembered at all times that you are in a simulation. As with many things, it's a complicated subject with no easy answer as it's caused by a number of factors, all interacting at different levels depending on the individual. Gosia said, it's for the same reason that we do not remember where we came from. I'm talking about star seeds. Because maybe it would help a lot to remember this part. Recover our identity. I speak of those who feel they are not from here. But I understand that 3D it's about the game. Swaruu said, it's what the game is about. But I must also say that the level of amnesia depends on the decision of each person because there are many people who have entered with full and total memory of who they are, and other people with half memories, and all variants in between. Gosia said, is this an earlier agreement? With themselves? Swaruu said, yes. Either from the etheric level directly or from some immersion chamber in a ship, or installation in another part of the world. Gosia said, okay, thanks Swaruu. And related to this, other things like aging, linear time and more. This is not a part of 3D, right? That was the reptile manipulation, yes. I am trying to understand very well, what belongs to the 3D simulation, and what is the manipulation of the reptilian matrix later on. Swaruu said, aging is part of the matrix from the beginning, but more than anything aging so fast, I mean you live there about 10% of what we do here at the most, that is a consequence of mental control of reptilian hacking, yes. But, unlike what many say, based on the Sumerian tablets, the hack comes in a mental way, as a mental control, and not biogenetically. Yes, there is genetic alteration, but that occurs everywhere anyway, and the same consciousness of people also rewrites their own genetics. Gosia said, then everything in the universe ages, only not as quickly as we perceive it from here, yes. Swaruu said, yes, but, here, in addition to aging 10x slower with a life expectancy of 950 years, as time is flexible you literally do not die of old age here. In theory you can continue always. Gosia said, how did the reptilians hack the matrix on the moon if we're also stuck here on 3D Earth? Did they have help from their reptilian families outside? Swaruu said, Gosia, because, as I just said above, the way in which the matrix can be controlled is from below also as you do. This is how the reptiles controlled it, simply because they knew how it works. This is what I want to give back to the people of Earth. Although I know that much of this is already in use with the law of attraction, which is largely correct, but there are missing key pieces that only we have, that is the timelines and their manipulation, and we can talk about this at a later time if you wish. Then yes, the foreign negative reptiles helped them. Aneka said, the same way we see an object, in frequencies, we see events. So, if the frequency is low, or as a match to a negative event, we will artificially alter that area's frequency to make it no longer a match with the negative event in question. And we can alter that frequency because we have access and an interface to the matrix control system, that is on the moon. The matrix is not an even projection. It can be individually modified, and or focused to where you want. It's all done transmitting electromagnetic waves of the exact wavelength frequency, necessary to alter the area situation or target. Gosia said, incredible. Aneka, you said something that was super new and interesting, to me. I repeat, so if the frequency is low, or as a match to a negative event, we will artificially alter that area's frequency to make it no longer a match with the negative event in question. So, you mean that if in some region, there is a low frequency, I imagine it refers to the collective, and it fits with the negative event that could manifest there, you alter the frequency so that it does not manifest. This means that it has a frequency that is consistent with the frequency of major accident, attack, armed assault, serious false flag, etc. This is filtered by the computer and it interprets the data. With this now I can fix my attention, or point to that particular area of Manhattan with my instruments, and then artificially raise the frequency of that site, nothing more. Which will make it incompatible with the negative events that I listed above. But I do not have unlimited energy, because the matrix is weak, and it only works with 4 of the initial 12 reactors it was designed with, so giving it energy or raising the frequency to one area, would bring a general decrease or of another location, so it's quite a job to manage resources. Gosia said, and are you doing this often? Aneka said, all the time 24/7 as they say. At this moment it is Lilayla who is assisting with that. It's usually my job. This technology is not perfect and it is very old, although I know that for you, it may seem very advanced. For us it is old and difficult to manage, besides it is failing a lot already. Gozia said, wow, super amazing all this. Thank you then. Aneka said, not at all, and there is no need to thank us, it is the least we can do. Gozia said, now, the question that many people will ask, what happened to the world wars, for example? You were not here yet, right? This alteration of frequency and the raises you started doing relatively recently. On the other hand, I understand that not everything can be altered this way. Aneka said, we arrived in 52. Since then the Third World War has been stopped more times than I remember, because they insist on realizing it. Gozia said, Swaruu told me about it. Thank you. Do you think we can learn how to alter frequencies? If we can learn to change the frequencies of places, from here with our consciousness or some practices maybe? Swaruu said, yes, because you do not need a machine like this one to do that, with the perceptions, and the personal consciousness you have enough. The matrix is designed to read the intentions of those of you down there, and manifest it. Therefore altering the matrix you do it all the time. Gozia said, with that positive note we can finish then. Since it is time. Thanks to Swaruu and Aneka. Swaruu said, thank you Gozia. Until tomorrow. Aneka said, thank you for inviting me, and until next time.